Welcome to the Haunted 365. In today's video we're going to be making a haunted creepy doll using this thing. Which granted it does have an unfair advantage because it's already creepy as hell to begin with. And what makes it especially creepy is it moves. We're going to start off by distressing the clothes to make them look old and more tattered and just weathered and aged. I've got a bowl of water here. I'm going to open up a used coffee cup here and just add the grounds right in there. We're going to use this to stain the clothes. Just get this mixed up. I'm gonna let that steep for just a second. It smells really good though. Alright, this is steeped a little and got nice and grody. I'm gonna start on the back here, just kind of brushing this on to see how things go. I'm not worried about the coffee grounds that are kind of sticking to it on here because I can always just wipe those off after this dries up a bit. The whole idea is I'm trying to make this look like it's just naturally aged, like it's been sitting in some abandoned house or something for a really long time, and not make it look extremely deliberate. Alright, I'm just going to go over the whole thing using this same method here of the coffee grounds and water. Just try to get everything a little yellow. So I will speed this up for you guys. Alright, that's given it a little more of a kind of yellowish tinge to the whole thing and maybe added a little bit of age to it, or at least the way it looks anyway. I'm going to let this dry for just a little bit and then come back and use a dry brush and kind of knock off all the little speckles of coffee grounds and stuff that I got on there. But I'm going to let this soak and I will get right back to it. Alright, she's dried off just a bit, and I'm going to take a dry chip brush and just kind of knock away some of those coffee grounds. You could have done the exact same thing and probably do, oop. Looks like I'll be whipping out the hot glue gun, but that's good, because now I can kind of put this on in a more weird, contorted kind of way. So we'll address that later. But yeah, you could do this with some used tea or something like that, and you wouldn't have to worry about the coffee grounds. But used tea, that's not really what I meant to say. Coffee grounds is what I had, and I didn't have to waste anything, and it did what I wanted it to do. It kind of got rid of all the brightness of this white and kind of made it more of a dingy color, but we're nowhere near done distressing this. I have some various paints here. I have some burnt umber acrylic, which I'm just going to put down a little bit over here to the side. And I have some various just cheap, like dollar store paint brushes. Like literally the cheapest thing you can get. I'm gonna get a little bit of this brown paint on here. basically looking just to get a very small amount, so it's basically like dry brushing. We're just going to go in various spots and do some extra staining. And I'm just going to do that all the way around. And then just kind of rub it in so it just naturally kind of fades away. But I'm going to do this all over in various spots just to give it even more of a weathered look. Alright, I'm going to hit the face as well with some of this brown paint with a nearly dry brush, just to kind of dirty it up a little. As it is, the whole porcelain part looks a little too perfect. Now I'm just going to lightly go over the dress in certain spots with some burnt umber, just to kind of change the flavor of everything a little bit. Give it more depth, dimension, because if this thing's just been kicking around for 100 years, it's not going to be worn evenly. It's going to have all sorts of stains and stuff that it's accumulated over time. So we're just trying to replicate that look and go for as creepy as possible. Really paying close attention to kind of get these white areas especially dingy. Now we're faced with a really unique scenario. A lot of people, I'm sure you've seen videos where they'll take paint and a little liner brush and try to make it look like cracked porcelain on a doll face. We have the unique opportunity here to actually work with a porcelain doll. So instead of making a fake crack go through here with paint, let's try to make a real crack go through there with a Dremel tool. This has been fitted with a kind of an engraving bit. It comes off to a really sharp point and it's textured all the way all across the end there. So let's see what we can do with that. And this is just one of those like $6 or $7 throwaway Dremel tools that you can get from Harbor Freight. They're extremely underpowered. You can practically stop the thing with your hand. But for this purpose, I think it'll work, and it's also not so big and bulky, so I can get in here and be a little more intricate with it. So now we just got to figure out where we want this crack to go. I'm thinking maybe down the forehead and around the eye, maybe a little bit. Let's give it a shot. All right, now we'll kind of wipe away all the excess here. Let's see what we have. Let's take a little bit of black paint on our finger and rub it down in there, and then try to get the excess off so it really highlights those cracks. I'm going to try to make these down here on the cheek a little more defined. I swear this thing is looking at me while I'm doing this, and it's really weird. Just get a lot of black paint down in there. Now I'm going to lightly go over that with a paper towel. Pretty realistic looking cracks there because they are real cracks, or cuts in this case. So now we need to do something with this hair. It needs to look way more disheveled. We'll get these bows off. I'm going to give her a bit of a new hairdo using some sandpaper. I just want it to be really roughed up. Oh no! Now let's see about getting that hair a little more dingy. Alright, to try to make this hair look a little more dingy, I'm going to put down some just clear school glue. And I'm going to mix it with a small amount of black. So now I have this black sticky goo here. I'm going to use one of the bigger chip brushes and just kind of dab in there and make it more of a dry brush. And just kind of start combing over it. The doll keeps going off on its own. It's like it's irritated I'm doing this. So basically it's making it look like there's kind of like some greasy strands going through it. I feel like the psycho Bob Ross. I'm going to use some of the same glue paint mixture to kind of go over the soles of the shoes to make them look more worn in, like she's been up walking around. Now I'm going to address this removable hair and the amputated leg with a little hot glue. I went ahead and glued this leg back on with a slight contortion to it so it's kind of leaning in. I just think it kind of adds to the creepy look of this thing. Now I'm going to address the eyes and make them look a little creepier. I'm going to use a little crimson red and a really fine tipped liner brush. I'm going to carefully try to get in here and just do a really thin line of red around the eyes. If you're having trouble doing really fine work like this and making a thin as line as possible. Make sure that you drag and twist the brush as you go through the paint. Good Lord, I do sound like the creepy bog boss. Should we stop just there with the red, or completely dilate the pupils with black, or do a wash of white, like a transparent white over the whole thing? Decisions. Let's go with the white and see if we can kind of achieve a dead eye kind of look. I've got a little bit of titanium white acrylic put out here, and I've mixed it with a whole lot of water, almost 50-50. It has the consistency of water still. I think we have achieved the maximum level of creepiness there. The very last thing I'm going to do here is I took a little bit of water and mixed in a very small amount of black acrylic in it, just to come up with kind of this gray sludgy looking stuff, but it's very translucent. And I'm just going to kind of do a wash over the entire thing, staying away from the face and the hands and stuff. I already have those pretty much the way I want them to look, but I just want kind of a uniform nastiness to kind of go over the entire thing, just to kind of bring everything together. And that about wraps it up for this little project video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, because that does help the channel a great deal. I'll provide links in the description for all the products and tools that I use, and maybe even try to find a link to dolls like this that are readily available, so that way you can try to recreate one of these on your own. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so that way YouTube will actually let you know when I post a new video. And I'll be trying to post every week, especially during this Halloween season. And until next time, keep it creepy.